Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you might be hearing my voice at this time. This is Dr. Judith welcoming you to another thoughtful few moments that I wish to share with you. I hope that you and yours are in good stead, and that whatever it is that you're going through, if there are difficulties at this time, that you remember that you're not alone, that you remember that God has ordained that someone such as myself will come and give you a word of encouragement, a word of exhortation, even a word that reminds you that He has not forsaken you, has not forgotten you, and that you mean the world to Him. Again, this is Dr. Judith, and I'm coming to you from Georgia, and I'm sharing with you at this moment. I want to share with you what it means to have a little and to share it anyhow. And let me explain. In this world, we tend to do material. Everything is material, just about, I have a few dollars, I have I have 5 shirts and 6 dresses and 10 pairs of shoes. And that's not always what I mean when I speak. And I know the Lord doesn't always talk in terms of material things. So what I'm sharing with you is having a little of anything, like the lady in the Bible, who had a little oil, and she was convinced to share it. The lady that had a little bit of meal, and she was convinced to share it. The dividends, if you want to use financial terms, if you want to use that, the dividends that they received is phenomenal and out of this world, because they trusted God sufficiently to give out of the little that they had. That is something that I think is vastly underrated in our present time. A lot of people will tell you that if I win the lottery and I win $350 million and $50 million and 5 cents, that I will give at least, I'll give some of it. And people that talk that way tend not to want to settle on a figure, because they know somewhere in their minds and their hearts that kind of money is so phenomenal to think about, much less hold in your hand. And so somewhere in their mind or their heart, they realize, they know themselves. Most people kind of know themselves, no matter what they say, that they really are not sure how much they will give. And it's always amazing, and I tell my son this all the time. I said, if you don't give out of the little bit that you have, I promise you, all these big bucks that you want to make and that you are going to make, you will be less willing to give. I promise you. Because giving out of a little, giving is a practice. It's a way of life. It's not always money. You can give a pair of shoes because somebody doesn't have shoes. You can give socks because somebody doesn't have socks. You can give clothing because you have so much. You might not have that much of it, but somebody needs it, so you give. So giving is something that we have to get used to doing. A lot of people are not naturally born givers. They don't grow giving. Some people have to learn. And when I was growing, and even into my late adulthood, I'm 65 now, I had major issues in giving. I gave foolishly. I would give and have just about nothing left. Now, that was not God instructing me at that time. That was me doing my own thing and not understanding. And I have to say this, a lot of what I did and you have done, and most of us as human beings have done before we came to the Lord, before we came to know ourselves in Him and through Him, it was done out of ignorance. We didn't know. We didn't know what we were doing. But when we came eventually to the truth, to the light, we came and sat at the table and supped with Him, we started learning. I know I have, that He does want us to give, but we have to be also wise. And that we must listen for His voice, His instructions, when to give and to whom to give. So like I said, when I was very young, I gave. I mean, it doesn't matter that I was a child. Whatever, if I had a candy, I could not eat that. And I'm talking about a small candy. I promise you, I could not eat that unless I offered somebody at least a piece of it. So, and I think part of that came from my natural, what I would say, my personality, and then also my earthly father was the type that gave till it hurt. I mean, he gave literally. We would eat and he wouldn't. Because if there was not enough, he would be the one that didn't eat. So I saw that. So between my natural tendencies and what my earthly father was showing me, I became this big giver. And it went on as I went on and got jobs and earned good living. I still gave, and I gave erratically, and I gave silly. And it's only in the last, I would say, maybe 7, 8 years that I've been given more as he instructs. That's part of the relationship growing, going from glory to glory. I'm learning. So, and this is what I want to share. And I said it before in my last broadcast, that the phenomenal journey of being involved with Christ is that he touches every area of your life. So in my giving, that has been impacted. So people that I used to give carelessly to in the past would say now that I'm mean. But, I tell them, I said, no. If they have the nerve to bring it up to me, no. What God is doing, God is teaching me how to be wise. It's his money. It's his, and I mean that. It's his money. I promise you, my life, how I've gone from job to job in terms of being instructed by him, everything is his. So I am learning still that first of all, I ask him, should I do this? Should I do that? Now, do I ask everything every day, all the time? No, but I'm getting far better than I've ever been. Once I learned that this is part of a relationship. And in relationship with Jesus Christ, I think one of the major components is being obedient. So, giving out of little, I am learning. And what he's showing me is that, there are people who will give a $200 gift, but they really don't give it with any heart. They don't give it with any, it's just, I'm going to give you that. And some people do that to boast that, I gave her $200, I mean, what else does she want? And whatever the comments are, there are people who give a lot of money in very expensive clothing. And I've found from actual experience that a lot of these people are extremely manipulative, extremely controlling. When they give large sums of money and expensive clothing, they're the type that they'll see you and, they'll ask you, what happened to that dress? Have you worn it? Let me tell you something, folks. I love people and I love the Lord and I love my life, but it is highly unlikely I'll remember to ask you anything about what I've given you. I don't care how expensive it is. I do not give and then follow up. You understand? I give and I move on. I mean, I know people will tell me, do you remember that shirt, the blouse you gave me? And I mean, actually, really, in this time that we are living in, people will, in this century, people actually, I know one person in particular that comes to mind. You remember that dress I gave you in 1973? And I'm like, 1973? I can't remember what happened 5 hours ago. Whether I gave or I was given or I don't keep track of those things because I give from my heart. And so what I'm learning and I'm sharing with others and I see people picking it up and that's awesome. I'm telling you, whether I'm in a restaurant with someone and they bought lunch, they've gone ahead of me and their stuff has been rung up and I said, it's $5. And the Spirit says, pay for it. And I said, okay. And I paid for it. I mean, I bought groceries for folks that way. People have bought me groceries in Walmart. Awesome. Off the chain. Awesome life. And recently I was in a Wendy's restaurant with a friend of mine. And she's a friend with conditions. She has the conditions, not me. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that right now. But she has this love-hate relationship with me, and I say she loves to hate me. But she's assigned to me, and I can't run away, and I'm aware of that, and she's aware also. So we're in the restaurant, and this lady goes ahead of both of us, and she and I had been talking to the lady about, the lady was running, she was running out of time. She had to get back home because there was somebody sitting with her husband who has Alzheimer's, and the person had to leave, so she had to get lunch and hurry back home. So my friend said to her, go on ahead of us, which was wonderful. And it's awesome how this unfolded. So she tells the lady, go on ahead. And the lady goes on ahead, and my friend looks at me and she says, I'm going to pay for her lunch. I said, wonderful. I see her take her card out, and she's trying to indicate to the lady, I'll pay for it. But she wasn't quite sure how to negotiate it. And so by the time she told the cashier, she gave the cashier her card and said, well, and the cashier was looking like, what are you doing? It's not your order. And my friend finally verbalized and said, and the lady who the lunch was being bought for turned around and looked at my friend, and she was almost choked up, and she's like, oh, no, you don't have to do that. She said, and my friend said, no, I want to do that for you. God bless you. This is the lady who, let me tell you, it's hard for her to give anything to anybody that I have seen, okay, in my relationship with her, in my time knowing her. And so she gave the lady, now she hears this recording, she's going to kill me, but that's okay, because that's who I am. But anyway, she told me I think later on, she said, Judith, I'm trying. I'm really trying. And that touched my heart. For her to say that to me. And so it was not a lot that she gave, but for her, it was given out of a little. Because she's not a wealthy person, she's not a rich person that I know of. So she gave out of the little, but it made her feel good. And I think she felt good because I was there witnessing the whole thing when she knows that I have a history of giving without considering the costs. So giving is a powerful thing. Receiving is wonderful. Matter of fact, one of the things that God had to take away from me in the years between 2009 and now, he had to take this pride that I had, and I didn't know it was pride at the time. I thought I was just being self-sufficient. Who knows? Does anybody know that when you have a relationship with God, that you cannot be self-sufficient? Does anybody know that? I think just about everybody who has a relationship with him knows that. But I was new at it, and so I fought against accepting things from people. And I didn't grow up getting, lots of gifts and whatever. So I was not used to receiving. So I always fought against it. And so one of the things that he has done with me in this season, I would say between 2009, it started before, but really got very impactful between 2009 and now, he started teaching me how to receive. And so I have come to the place now where I not only give out of a little, or if I have much, whatever my state of being is, as he instructs me, I give. And then he's now teaching me how to receive and just say thank you and not apologize and not, oh, you shouldn't have, none of that stuff. He's teaching me how to say thank you. I appreciate it. God bless you. So I believe what the Bible says. I know it's true because I've seen it. He said, if you're faithful over few, I'll make you rule over much. So when we give out of the little that we have, he sees our hearts. So you can't, see, we can't practice doing that because the Bible says that, and if I do it, then no. He knows our hearts, and he knows when we are genuine. He knows when we are real. He knows that, and for most of us, giving out of a little is hard. It's really hard. So if you're willing to give out of a little, I think he's already said, at least for that day and that moment, well done, good and faithful servant. So, because we are being obedient. And if we are willing to give out of a little, it is easier to give out of a lot. Not the other way around. If we are, people say, well, when I get, no. If you can't give now, the person needs you now. The person needs the soup now. They need the meal now. They need the shoes now. They need the dress now. We can't, we can't wait. When God sends you to bless somebody, that person can't wait. I mean, he'll send somebody else if you mess up. But why not be the person? Why not be the chosen one that gives out of a little? And so when you have a lot, you'll be so well practiced, you will give without even concerning yourself with it. It is a joyous way to live. And I pray for you all that are listening, or at least one person will get this and will plant a seed in your own heart. Plant a seed in your yard. Plant a seed in the hearts of your family. Plant the seed in your friends. Whatever you do, don't forget to plant what you've been what has been shared with you today, and watch it grow. Be safe. Be at peace. And as I always try to say, as I always try to remember to say, walk good. Until next time, this has been Dr. Judith.